Will you vary your crop mix significantly year to year? In other words, will you plant for the market and adjust that acreage? Will you do it, for example, for 2019?
I've got 2019 figured out. We have a minimum of how many acres we're going to grow on our four crops every year, just so we continue to having a good rotation. So I'm always going to have a minimum set point for every crop, and then the market will dictate which crop ends up going higher. So right now, based on the market, the beans will probably be about the lowest that I'll go, and corn will be pretty low, and peanuts and cotton will be the higher of the two. So those two will be going up next year. But we always keep that minimum because I feel like what we're doing with the crop rotation has really helped us with the chemicals that we can use. Having different chemistries has really been a godsend to us with the different weed resistance that we have going on around here, especially with pigweed. Starting to see it a lot with our Johnson grass. It's coming in. Ryegrass has been a real problem for us. So being able to use these different chemistries and crop rotation changes has been huge for us. And we see a big yield potential. The yield has just really gone up a lot by doing this. The potential is higher. If Mother Nature works out, our yields are just been really phenomenal since we've started this four crop rotation in the last 6-7 years.
Jason, what's the toughest part of farming in this part of the world? What is the most difficult thing for you that you still maybe struggle to work with a little bit?
You know, it's just with growing the multitude of crops that we grow, the timing to get everything out. Everything, in our opinion, early is always better. The earlier we can get out there and get started planting. Now we're going to wait till the weather's right, but if the weather breaks and the window's there, we have to be ready to get out there and do it. And it still seems like no matter how prepared we are, something can happen. Mother Nature always seems to be the thing that causes us the most grief. We get out there, and this year we planted 1,000 acres of corn. We waited till April 16th, which was really late for us this year, but the weather had just been really cool. So it finally warmed up, and lo and behold, we got a rain that was supposed to be an inch turned into 4 inches. Ground crusted over so hard that we had to come back and replant it after we got through planting all of our cotton. We had to circle back around to it. And so that was May planted corn, which is not good for our area. So really plant season is always the toughest thing we deal with. Our ground can crust over, and cotton is the same way. If you get 3 or 4 tenths of rain and the cotton you just planted, it's probably not going to come up to a stand.
When you look at the span of time when you're planting crops in the spring, how many weeks are involved altogether for the total crop mix?
Typically, after you get by that first week in April, things warm up and you don't look back. So after about April the 10th or 12th, even this year, we started planting and we went nonstop. So we got our 2 crews that go from plant our corn with 1 crew. They have our 12-row equipment that's single row, and they plant the corn, and then when they get finished with that, those same drivers, they clean out and they turn around and they go straight to the cotton. Our other crew, while we're planting the corn, they're planting beans with twin row. We find that really is beneficial in our area. 38-inch rows to do the twin row, we lap over, really helps with the weed retention later in the year when you lap over much faster. And then they go to our peanuts, and the same with the peanuts. They need to be twin row so they can start lapping over as soon as possible. So they get started with the beans the same time we do the corn. As soon as we get through with the beans, they go to peanuts. And peanuts, they're a big seed, and you only get about 20-25 acres a load, so it's a pretty slow process. So to plant, we're doing 1,700 acres. That's probably our longest planting cycle is on the peanuts, and it takes probably about 3 weeks.